Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking some notes. These notes, again, are found under the Classwork tab of your Google Classroom. They're labeled Notes 322. You will see that they're in a bit of a different format that we normally do, as it is in a Jamboard. So you'll see I have different colored Post-its. The yellow Post-its are where you can click Edit and type in the definition. So government is, and then press save. Green are for questions that you have, so you can go ahead and either add Post-it notes here or type again on this Post-it note by clicking the three buttons and selecting edit. Then when you go over, you'll see we're going to talk about the different types of government. Again, the yellow Post-it notes are for definitions for you to write down. The blue are for examples. And then I am asking you to draw a picture representing each type of government, and I will show you a couple examples as we go through the notes. In order to draw, you do have your pen feature here, so you can click on that. You can change colors. You can change it to a marker, to a highlighter, or for a paintbrush, and create your drawing here. The orange Post-it note up at the top contains a short clip that gives you an example from a movie. And again, I'll kind of talk about those so you can watch the clip here. If you have any questions, please feel free to pause and rewatch any part of the video. Otherwise, make sure that you are reaching out to me so you can get any help that you need. Do not forget to complete the exit ticket before the end of class today so you can show me what you learned. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, we're talking about the different types of government. And this will be important as we begin to compare the types of government seen in Athens, the Roman Republic, and in the Roman Empire. This is just a quick review, as you did talk about this last year. Government is a system used to control a country or state. So this is your definition here, and you should write that on your yellow Post-it note on your Jamboard. Again, government is a system used to control a country or state. And we've talked about what government is before when we first introduced our social institutions in Unit 1. The purpose of government, again, is to establish law and order and help decide how we can control our area, as well as make sure that people have the things that they need. Are people safe? Do people feel comfortable living in their environment? So again, government is a system used to control a country or a state. The first type of government that we are going to talk about is aristocracy. Aristocracy is the government ruled by the wealthy or upper class. So again, this is your definition, which you need to write on your yellow Post-it. Some examples of an aristocracy are going to be civilizations that you hopefully have heard of before. And this would be Sparta, the city-state in ancient Greece, and the Roman Republic. I mentioned this and we took notes on Thursday that we will see in the Republic the wealthy will be able to gain more power and control the longer the Republic is around. And so then don't forget to do your drawing. Here's an example for you that I've created. You can see the people that are powerful have the money symbols in their eyes, and then the poor people are smaller, and meaning that they have less power. So try and create your own drawing. For this, I would like for you to get a little creative and think on your own, but if you do struggle, you have my example to look back at. And then the YouTube video that I posted about aristocracy is an example from the movie Mean Girls. You have that clip there. In the clip, you will see them discussing the quote-unquote leader of the school, Regina George, and all of the different kind of material things she has, her car, her hair. So you can go ahead and watch that to get a better understanding of aristocracy. The next type of government we're going to talk about is dictatorship. And this is ruled by one person who has total control over all others. We have mentioned this type of government before. I called it an autocracy before. Autocracy is, again, when you have one ruler who has complete control. And often they will be given the title of dictator. This form of government will become more popular as the Roman Empire emerges. But we do see examples of dictatorships in present-day countries. For example, Cuba and North Korea, which you are probably familiar with, and their leader of Kim Jong-un. And again, here's my drawing if you need an example for your own. You've got one person kind of stepping on a littler person, saying, I have the power. So again, you can use this drawing as a reference, but I would like for you to create your own. And then my movie example is Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter. Once he takes control, he has the ultimate control. He makes all of the decisions, and everybody listens to him. The next type of government we're going to talk about is constitutional monarchy. This is when a government that has a monarch or a king, but their power is limited by and defined by a constitution. This type of government system was first created in England. They felt that their king had too much control. His name was King James. And the British government will kidnap the king from his bed. They will hold him hostage on a boat and force him to sign the Magna Carta, which establishes the Constitution and limits his power, meaning he cannot just make all of the decisions like he could if it was an autocracy, meaning he has to follow the defined laws. And oftentimes there will be a governing body that limits him as well. For example, again, in Great Britain, they have a parliament which works similar to our Congress, where they vote on and make laws. They also have a prime minister who acts as the elected representative of the people to run the government, similar to our president, but their systems are very much different. We also see a constitutional monarchy in Spain, which would be very similar to the constitutional monarchy in Great Britain. So again, I've got my picture here. I've got my monarchs, my king and my queen, but yet there also is a constitution which limits their power. My movie example for this is from Aladdin. You have the Sultan, but he cannot make all of the decisions. He has to run things past his council and his vizier, Jafar, before he's allowed to make any decisions. So while he is still the king, he is still the one in charge, he cannot just make any decisions that he wants to. Next type of government system we're going to talk about is a democracy. This is a government in which political power is retained by the people. And there are going to be two types of democracy. There's a true democracy and a representative democracy. In a representative democracy, power may be delegated to elected representatives. The United States does not have a true democracy where the people make all of the decisions. But instead, we have a representative democracy where we are given control to elected representatives. We give them consent, the consent of the governed, to rule in our place. We cannot make all of the decisions ourselves, so we trust that our elected representatives will make some of them for us. So a true democracy can be found in Iceland and Austria, where the people vote on almost everything. But a representative democracy, an example of that would be the United States. And we will see the first example of a true democracy when we talk about Athens tomorrow. Do not forget to draw your picture for this. I do not have an example for this one, as you should have a good idea of how you could draw this. But I do have a movie example. For my example in this one is Toy Story. All of the toys get to vote when they make decisions. And if they're overruled, for example, Woody gets overruled a lot, they go with the majority. And I do have a little clip there with Barbie talking about the consent of the governed, where again we get our power from. Power comes from the people. The next type of government we're going to talk about is a monarchy. The sovereign control of a government is by a hereditary ruler such as a king or queen. So again, we see the whole government is run by one person, and the ruler is passed down from father to son, or as we've moved further into the future, you can now pass your power down to your daughters or your female relatives. But that's what hereditary means, is that it's passed down through the family. We've talked about this type of idea when we've talked about dynasty before. One example of a monarchy that is still in existence today, a true monarchy, is in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And my movie example for this is The Lion King. Mufasa is the one in charge, and then when Mufasa dies, Simba is the next king. And then even when Simba runs off, Scar, a male family relative of Mufasa's, becomes the leader. And then, of course, as always, you get my joke for today. The next type of government that we're going to talk about is oligarchy. We've talked about this one before, as well as it was becoming popular during this time period in Era 3. And this is when the rule of the government is by a few people. And so one example of this is Russia. Many people think that Russia is a dictatorship. That is not correct. Vladimir Putin is a prime minister and is chosen each election cycle. But Russia has an oligarchy. They have a small group making decisions for the country. Normally it consists of 3 major leaders, including whoever happens to be the prime minister. Again, right now it is Vladimir Putin. But Russia is still considered to be an oligarchy. And my movie example for this one is Lord of the Rings. You've got representatives from all the different groups, the elves, you've got Gandalf, you've got hobbits there, to help make decisions. And so, again, you can watch my video clip if you would like to see another example. The next form of government we're going to focus on is a theocracy. This is a government in which the clergy rules, or in which a god is the civil ruler. So this is when religion is the forefront. And examples of this would be the Vatican City, the home of the Roman Catholic Church, and in some Islamic states like Iran, where the Quran, the religious text, is the law. And we'll talk more about theocracy as we begin to talk about the major world religions that emerged during Era 3, as they will quickly have a major influence on many of the empires and kingdoms we will be focusing on. And my example for this one is Star Wars, when they talk about the Force, and the Force being the power that runs the Star Wars universe. So when you talk about the Force, it's similar to talking about a religious entity being in charge. And again, there is a short YouTube clip for you to watch there if you would like to for another example. The next type of government system we're going to talk about is communism. This is a system in which the land and factories are owned by the state or the community as a whole. The state also has the right to control the distribution and consumption of the products of industry. So communism is interesting in the sense that it is both a government system as well as an economic system. So it deals both with how do we distribute goods and services as well as how do we maintain law and order. So all factories and ways of production are controlled by the state. The state also controls the laws that are created and how people should behave in society. And two kind of current examples of this are China and Vietnam. My movie references, I've got two here. First being the Smurfs, as they do all work together to create things and then share them with one another. My other example are the Three Musketeers. Their famous saying, all for one and one for all, meaning again that they all work together. They split their profits of their adventures and they support each other in everything that they do. The last type of government system we're going to talk about is fascism. This is when you have a one-party system of government with individuals subjected to the control of the state by secret police, military police, censorship, and government control of finance, industry, and commerce. True examples of this include Nazi Germany and Italy during World War II, as they often used secret police like the Gestapo to make arrests and enforce their overarching laws. They also had censorship where they were not allowed to view certain things that were against the government or speak out against the government. The government also controlled all finance and industry, all money, and ways of producing goods and services. This can be especially difficult to live under as there are many rules and it often leads to war and civil unrest as civil liberties are greatly diminished. Two kind of movie examples that you could use. The link goes with the Lego movie. In the Lego movie, there is the cop that goes around and works in secret to support the leader. That also talks about the control of industries, where everybody goes to work and is happy to be working together. But in reality, if you've seen the movie, people are not really happy and just controlled by this leader. You also could make reference to the Hunger Games, again, where industry is controlled. Each district has specific things that they have to produce. And there are secret police that come and enforce these rules. And again, as we can see, it does eventually lead to civil war, as many of the civil liberties like freedom of speech, freedom of the press are severely limited. So with that being said, that's it for the notes for today. If you need to rewatch or pause to make sure that you have all the information filled out, please do so. Make sure that you have your drawings done. I will be creating those. And make sure that you also take a look at my links so that way you can get some good examples as well to help you really understand these different types of government. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.